It's easy to forget what or who really powers Australia. The industries that fire bricks, forge steel, they make the products the country needs and help lay the foundations of our economy. They employ hundreds of thousands of people, produce billions in revenue, bring shareholders value, and they run 24/7. But while they help keep the country moving, they're also some of our highest emitters. Industries like these run hot. They need consistent, affordable, high heat or gaseous ingredients to power their operations. The inputs that, in some cases, electricity can't provide. But here's the twist. Australia's answer could be hiding in plain sight, and it doesn't involve digging or drilling. Biomethane, made from organic waste like wastewater and agri-waste, can help to fuel these industries with the same reliability as their existing natural gas supply, only with less of the greenhouse gas emissions, but with added circular economy benefits. In this episode, we meet some of the leaders who are spearheading calls to scale up the waste to fuel energy innovations that can help power their businesses and lower their emissions, helping to keep industries and jobs in Australia. Many of Australia's manufacturers don't just need energy, they need heat. Reliable, round-the-clock, high-intensity heat. From bricks to boxes, these industries fuel the economy and support thousands of local jobs. But here's the challenge. They rely on gas. Big players like Brickworks, Lion, Opal and InfraBuild, to name just a few, are exploring solutions.
In the Austral Bricks business, natural gas is really important to us, and the reason for that is that we need that to produce the very high temperatures in our brick kilns to manufacture bricks. Electrification is not possible in our business, so you can't use electricity to get the really high heat temperatures that we get from natural gas. So natural gas is really critical for our business.
Opal manufactures recycled and craft papers, and we convert those into innovative cardboard products such as corrugated cardboard, cartons, punnets and paper bags. So across Australia and New Zealand, Opal has around 4,000 employees. The amount of high temperature energy that we require, there isn't the technology to be able to convert those over to electricity, so finding a renewable substitute for natural gas is really a priority for Opal. Opal already produces about a third of its high temperature energy from renewable sources such as waste biomass, and in the future we're looking at replacing all of our high temperature energy with renewable gas.
We produce basically long steel products, which is rebar, bar, mesh. It's about 80% of all the production of the steel we do goes to a construction site. And the rest, 20%, goes into industrial or rural solutions like fences and so forth. We have about 4,500 direct people working in our facilities, but we also supply to 17,000 different customers with all the different workforce that is in those 17,000 customers. And we also buy or procure from 15,000 different companies with the corresponding people. So we have a lot of indirect impact from an economic point of view. And let's not forget the steel industry in Australia employs over 150,000 people. So it's a very important industry to maintain. And especially in our case, our objective is not only to produce in Australia for Australia, but produce in the most sustainable possible way. And our manufacturing process is world-class to be able to get to basically no emissions of CO2 in producing steel. Steel production is a very high energy intensive process.
Turn up the heat.
The circularity model, which is the one Infrabuild has developed, which is basically recycled steel. So you know that steel can be endlessly recycled. So it's one of the most sustainable products that you can think of. You can recycle it, we process it, we create high quality scrap. Then we use modern technology electrical furnaces, which use electricity as the source of energy. And what we do is melt that scrap, produce the billets, and then those billets are roll formed. And in that roll forming process, we use preheating, and the main source of energy is natural gas. So the usage of electricity and gas is the main source of CO2 emissions in our manufacturing process. So for us to eliminate or change natural gas by a biogas, like biomethane, is key to reduce our CO2 emissions. That's why for us it's very important. Biomethane is a great solution for us because it's a direct substitution of natural gas, first thing. So we don't need to do significant changes to our processes in itself. And for us, the source of generating biomethane is a very aligned with our circularity model, which is reusing waste to generate this biogas. So it's 100% circular, 100% sustainable, and a great opportunity to develop more jobs into this country.
Turn up the heat.
Forex and tuis, stone and wood little creatures. We do them all here in Australia. Yeah, so we're a big gas user. I wouldn't say that we need the temperature, but we certainly need the volume. So Tui's brewery here in Sydney is our largest brewery. We produce about 150,000 gigajoules of gas per year. And around Australia, around 300,000 gigajoules of gas per year. We use that mostly to generate steam. Part of the brewing process is boiling the beer, or wort as it's known at that stage of the brewing process. And so at Tui's alone we'd make over 250 million litres of beer per year. So you can imagine that's a lot of beer that we have to boil, which requires a lot of steam, which obviously requires a lot of gas. Electrification has its limitations at this point in time. Particularly for the large breweries such as Forex and Tui's. Sometimes there's a misconception that gas can be substituted, but not at the scale that we produce our products. And so for those large industries and those industries that need high temperatures, at this point in time, substitutes are very difficult to come by. Biomethane already plays a key role in our business. About 10 years ago, we built a wastewater treatment plant at Tui's, and that treatment plant takes the waste beer and actually converts it to biomethane. So we use anaerobic digesters as part of that process, and that biomethane meets about 15 to 20% of our gas requirements at that brewery. So we've been actually using it now for over 10 years quite successfully, and incorporating it into both our boilers as well as our cogeneration unit. And so you could think of biomethane both helping with our heat demand, it's also generating electricity on the Tui's brewery. And so that in itself offsets around 1,500 tonnes of carbon emissions per year. Lion has set a very ambitious pathway when it comes to decarbonisation. And right now at this point, the only way we can decarbonise further is by looking at options such as biomethane.
It's not just about going solo, it's about showing what's possible. Because for heavy industry, the question isn't whether to decarbonise, it's how fast we can make it happen.
Often when we think about energy transition, we simply look at electrification. What we actually need is more solutions for businesses. Businesses that currently have high industrial heat, require responsive power generation, or even demand that's not coincidental with wind and solar. They need a solution that's delivered through the existing energy system, and that's where we see the huge opportunity of biomethane.
These sectors don't just need energy, they need high heat around the clock. Industrial underfloor heating, sterilisation processes, drying lines, baking ovens, furnaces, all demanding consistent, intensive, high temperature energy.
I think that the gas industry will get more support once everyone is a little bit more informed about what it is that biomethane does.
But in Australia, we don't have a lot of prior education going into our politics around gas, so there's minimal understanding that allows it to be pushed. Otherwise, things like wind and solar are a bit more supported because they're a bit easier to understand and have been pushed a lot more as being quite green. Yeah.
I guess they've been around for longer as well.
Solar and wind are essential and expanding fast. But when the sun's not shining and the wind's not blowing, industries still need a stable, reliable solution and backup option. A renewable energy source to keep their 24/7 operations running for longer than most batteries are able. And that's where biomethane can step in to support and complement other renewable energy solutions.
Biomethane, the easiest way to see it as a drop-in fuel for natural gas or a replacement for natural gas. It just has the ability to come through from renewable sources like agricultural material.
It's exactly the same as natural gas chemically. The waste is being wasted, so let's use it as a fuel source.
What we really like about biomethane is it is a renewable form of natural gas, and what that means is we can produce it today using existing technology that's widely used overseas in Europe. We don't need to make any changes to our plants, and we don't need to upgrade our gas networks to be able to distribute the renewable gas.
Biomethane is already being piloted and injected into the New South Wales gas network since 2023. So, the infrastructure works, the technology works, the demand, it's there.
The technical solution is proven. It's about now understanding that pathway to scalability.
This isn't just a good idea, it's been proven overseas to work, and it's needed here in Australia to help decarbonise our high-emitting industries. From anaerobic digesters and biogas upgraders to distribution networks across towns and cities, we have the technology and the tools to make it happen. So if the key ingredients are there and the infrastructure is ready, what are we waiting for?
So my vision for biomethane 5 years ago was to get the government to recognise it. It has done that. My vision now for biomethane is to see plants springing out of the ground, and we're starting to see that. It's to see the governments getting in behind it and really saying, you know what, this is a regional development. Let's get it started. Let's get this agricultural residue going. Let's try and solve this problem. Let's put all of the options on the table for customers.
We have to recognise that gas is an essential ingredient, and there's certain things that governments can do about that. They can speed up the planning process. They can acknowledge the fact that gas is going to play an ongoing role, both for heavy industry and industries that don't have alternatives, but also to try and provide those gaps in the energy system when renewables can't meet it.
So both people wanting it and governments then investing in it and industry getting behind it.
Yeah, and I think we just need to educate people as well about it.
Yes, so that more people know about it.
Yeah.
When big industry gets on board, things can move fast. Biomethane isn't just renewable energy. It's reliable energy for industries that depend on continuous high heat. And while factories keep running, Australia's carbon footprint, it could get a little lighter.
All the things that you are recycling can be used, so it's a great circular process that everybody can contribute to. So you can become part of the solution instead of being part of the problem.
Yeah, the really exciting thing about the industry is that it's getting momentum. The technology is available, the demand is there, government policies coming together, and therefore investment's coming. I see a really bright future and a number of sites being built.
Of course, every breakthrough comes with a little resistance. The question is, what's holding back further progress? In the next episode, we lift the lid and look at what needs to happen next. You're watching Fuel for Thought.
just a game I play. It's tiring, so I push